It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive radio experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show, keeping you connected to the automotive world. Locally created and nationally celebrated. This morning, if you want to go to my Facebook page, which is NIKJMILES, you can actually see what goes on in the studio. We are live on Facebook right now, looking at pictures, and we have 9 viewers. Let's see if we can get that to 10 before the end of the hour. Is that enough?
We have that many in the studio.
Yes, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then outside the studio, we got about another 5 other people. So there's like over 10 people. Maybe that's just the people who are here that are watching it on Facebook. What's on today's show? Fun and exciting cars that we've been driving. We'll talk about those. My little brother, Kyle Keenan, is here. He's going to be in studio talking about his latest expert, I would say, adventures is the best word to put it. Motorcycle safety. We're going to talk about getting ready for the spring. Jeff Earls is here from Team Oregon. He's going to show us and tell us why we should be getting ready for the warmer weather. And honored to have Bob Lanfear Jr. here from Buy Bob and Beaverton Motorcycle. We're going to be talking about a lot of bikes today. And hopefully we have time to get to it. Ryan is going to be here from Afterglow to talk about some Mother's all chrome spray to keep that bike nice and shiny. So, what have I been driving? Well, I had a great chance to get into the Buick Cascada. This is their new small convertible. It comes made as a convertible in America. It has pop-up roll bars, forward collision alert, departure warning, stability tracks, and rear and front park assist. 1.6-liter engine, 4-cylinder, 200 horsepower, 6-speed automatic, front-wheel drive, about 27 miles a gallon. Look, there is nothing you get from the Beetle convertible, which is a 2-door. And then there's basically nothing until you get to the luxury cars. That's it.
I really like the look of this car. Yeah. I've seen it and been hounding to actually get in this before you.
It's not going to
happen.
It's an Opel in the European markets, but they haven't actually brought a convertible out. This was purposely made as a convertible. It has a base and premium model. All the things that you expect from Buick, including in Interlink 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot, 7-inch touchscreen, hands-free calling, navigation. Base price, $33,000. If you pack it up, $36,000.
Is this the one we're seeing on the ads on TV now?
Yeah, they're pushing
with the couple
this.
Taking off.
There is nothing in the marketplace above the Beetle convertible. So if you're ready for some summer driving for all of the 3 months that we have in Oregon, this is the car to buy.
I think the ads resonate where the people mistake that vehicle for not being a Buick.
Yeah,
and it looks good.
It does. It looks good. They did a good job. All right, so great things do come in small packages. Kyle Keenan is here. If you don't know who Kyle is, here are some of his attributes. 2015 NWR SCCA STL champion. 2015 Oregon SCCA B-Spec champion. I got a whole list here. I could go all the way down, even down to he is taller than Rico Abaru, who is only 4'4". Kyle, you sent me an email.
I'm also taller than you.
Yeah, that's a lie. We know that.
I've got 11 people here as proof.
All right, hands up. Who says?
I didn't see.
I don't see any hands. Man. I don't see any hands.
I saw some Queen boots on him when you guys measured.
Yeah, you see. There you go. This is what Kyle's email said. I kind of miss you and have some exciting news regarding the Ridge and the karting program. Go, Kyle.
I can't.
You can't top that? You can't top many of us.
I mean, the whole I miss you part was a bit of a lie, but...
oh, pal! Right in the sucker.
No, we're good. So I'm actually going to step up and be the program director for the OGP kart track, which is called the Olympic Grand Prix kart track right there at the Ridge Motorsports Park in Shelton, Washington, and really excited about it.
So they have... The Ridge itself is a pretty amazing, highly elevated, full-class racetrack.
Correct.
And then they have a kart track, which is exactly a fifth of the size of the Ridge Motorsports Park, and it has exactly the same elevation.
Correct. Yeah, I was actually up there yesterday and Friday, and on both tracks back and forth, and yeah,
Isn't it ironic that they put you on the smaller track?
I don't even know how to come back at that. I'm just glad we didn't play the Short People song that we played last time I was here.
Brad was the one that had that queued up. Brad, you missed out on that one. All right, so let's be serious. Let's talk about the karting program. Is this something that you do for fun? Is it something that people come and do because they're serious karters? I mean, there's a lot of guys that get into motor racing. They get into karting
it
first.
Depends. You know, I started racing karts when I was 6 years old, and karting still plays a big role in my training program and things like that. Just because it's so raw. You know, there's no ABS, there's no traction control, there's no power steering, there's no suspension even. So it's all driver. And we've got a really good amount of rental karts up at the Ridge that are very well taken care of. And so you're able to sit in those karts and go out there and battle it out with, you know, guys like me who race all the time, who are back and forth between the kart track and the kart track, to even, you know, racing with your buddies and short people like you. So
are these rentable for like corporate events too? So
correct.
You can book the track and
absolutely.
team building kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to the website, olympicgrandprix.com, and my contact info is on there. And you can send me an email and bring up all your buddies and
your best short joke.
And your best short joke.
Yeah, send those to Kyle too. Seriously, this is kind of a big step for you. So now you're in charge of a program to educate others.
Correct. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. And, you know, I've done a lot of professional coaching and things like that from a driving standpoint. And so I'm kind of looking forward to taking a more broader role, I guess, in a driving program to
I will tell you, I'd really honor you for the whole race car thing, because I have had some amazing opportunities on track. I drove a Mercedes SLS Black. I've driven Vipers. I've driven ZL1s, a lot of things on track. I'm horrible on a track. I'm really horrible. Even with some of the best German race car drivers from the BMW team sitting next to me, I'm still horrible on a track, but I don't mind being horrible on a track.
You're one of the few media people that actually admit that. Having put on those media events for years, the worst day is when you have the track day and let out the media guys.
You stick me on a gravel road in a diesel 350 turbo diesel vehicle, I'll show you a thing or two. I drove an ambulance for 7 years in the city, and I can handle a big heavy vehicle at speed. But when you get into little things that are as light as a feather, like a Miata, or you get into go-karts, I drove Pat's Acres on a go-kart once, and I just can't corner those things. I need the back end to slide out. It needs to weigh about 6,000 pounds before I know what to do with it.
That, or you need to lose some weight.
Yeah, that's exactly what I need to do, because I'm way too heavy for those go-karts. The idea is that people can come up and be educated by you, take classes, or how does it work?
So like right now, 11 to 7 is our weekend hours. So you can come up there anytime between 11 a.m. to 7
Wait, so
p.m.
you're going to be there every weekend, 11 to 7?
I won't be, no, but I'm going to make my best effort to be. We have a really good staff on hand that takes care of the day-to-day stuff. And then I'm in charge of like setting up leagues, corporate events, and things like that. And all that will be announced shortly on our website as well. So.
In the next few minutes that we have left, on the minute we have left or so before we take a break, your race season starts next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend we're going down to Thunder Hill for the first SCCA Majors race of the year. And
what are you racing this time?
I'm going to be driving the Team KBR Kia Rio with help from Hoosier Tire. We might drag down a second car. I'm not really going to say too much on that, but I'll let you guys be the first ones to know as soon as I find out. Is that a backup
in case you do something wrong?
No, it's just us taking another car.
You're trying to tell us without
class.
tell us, aren't you?
Yeah. It's just I'm very addicted to driving race cars, and so you know, why drive one when you can drive 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6?
Exactly. And there's a new Kia Rio, I think, coming this year too. So
GT.
Oh, GT is going to be exciting for you.
Yeah, I think my buddy Bob and I might have to talk and put a program together for that, because I think that might be a good thing rolling there. So.
All right. Will you keep us up to date on what's going on?
Absolutely.
Remind us one more time before we go to break how people get hold of you if they want to go karting.
They can hit us up on our website at olympicgrandprix.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Olympic Grand Prix. So,
Kyle Keenan, always good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the show. Still to come on the show, we're going to talk bikes. Jeff Earls is going to be here talking about Team Oregon and how to make sure you're safe coming this spring. And Bob Lanfear Jr. himself going to be in studio talking about motorcycles, what's hot, what's not, and what you can get right now if you're going to get into the motorcycle world. That's all coming up on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
From the Test Miles studio, this is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Automotive Nation. I am your host, Nick Miles, and I'm joined by the crew, Sean Walker, Brad Boyer, and Jen in the studio. Find us on TV, on radio, on mobile at Test Miles.
First fun fact of the day, Kia became the first Korean brand to grab the checkered flag at Detroit Bell Grand Prix in 2013.
Excellent. Thank you, Jen. All right, Sean, what have you been driving?
Speaking of Kias, I've been driving the Sportage that you've talked so much about this whole past month. Love the vehicle. I mean, it's literally hands down my favorite SUV or CUV out there on the market today. Autonomous emergency braking, smart power liftgate, which is, I think, one of the best features of this car and one of the better systems out there. You just walk up and stand there behind the gate for 2 seconds and it automatically opens instead of trying to wave your foot under like Ford and a couple other manufacturers where you're taking your center of gravity all the way. 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. This car had tons of power for a little 4-cylinder. Thought it had a bigger engine. Has 240, which doesn't sound that much, but this car gets up and go. Has a 6-speed automatic, comes in front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, gets 21 to 26 miles a gallon. Its competitors are the Equinox, Escape, CR-V, Tucson, Rogue, RAV4, so heavy competition. Trim levels are the LX, EX, and SX, and I just love this car. It was fun to drive, no lag with the turbo. You could get up and it moves. It's a great car. It looks different than all the other CUVs. It's just hands down one of my favorites and probably the best CUV out there.
Starting price?
Starting price is $22,990, and if you get the top loaded ones, you're up in the mid 35.
Best fuel economy?
I probably got like 25.
Really? I mean, I did pretty well on it in fuel economy wise, but I will tell you the one thing I love about it is in your face styling and Kia Challenger brand.
I just had too much fun getting on it and racing. Sorry.
Legally.
Legally.
Spring is truly here, and if you don't believe me, just drag yourself out of bed and take a look at the world this morning if you're not already up. For some people, that motorbike has been sitting in the garage all winter. It needs some riding, my friends, and if you don't have a motorcycle endorsement, you should get yourself one and take the class. I scraped through the class, and the man responsible for unleashing me on the world of motorcycles is Jeff Earls. He is from Team Oregon. They are a cooperative partnership with the Oregon Department of Transportation and Oregon State University to educate people in all things bike. And we have Jeff back again with us. Any regrets on passing me through the motorcycle course?
I see you're still upright, and I'm happy about that.
Yes.
So not at all.
I haven't done anything bad so far, and I don't intend to. Spring's here, and a lot of people haven't ridden over the winter. Is it time to get the bike out? And what do we need to remember?
Well, it is time to get the bike out. The weather is certainly beautiful, and the thing to remember is that the skills that you might have had put on the shelf with the bike last fall have atrophied, and they're probably not as sharp as you remember when you pick it up this time. So take it easy, and don't go rush out to be with your friends because they might have been riding all winter and you're just not quite as sharp as you were. So we recommend taking it easy. Find those comfortable roads where you remember where the potholes were and just kind of ease it back in.
Yeah, a lot of things that we talked about this morning before we got on air, things that I have to remind myself that when you ride the bike, you don't put yourself in the same position on the road as if you're driving a car. You forget that running over a manhole cover on a bike is very different than running over a manhole cover in a car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I tell my students, is you need to start thinking like a rider. You may not care that one of your 4 car wheels slips on a manhole cover, but you will care if one of your 2 motorcycle wheels will. So you just have to read the road differently and retrain yourself to look at the road surface differently after a winter of driving the car.
All right, let's talk about those people who don't have a motorcycle endorsement. How can Team Oregon help them?
Oh, Team Oregon is there. They are the resource for this in Oregon. And what we offer is for basic riders that have never been on a bike before, we have our basic rider training class. And this is a 15-hour class, both classroom and on-range instruction. We provide the motorcycles. We'll provide helmets if you don't have one. And it happens over the course of a weekend.
The only thing we really have to bring is gloves and ankle-high boots, right?
Yeah,
and full pants and things like that.
Yeah, you need to bring long sleeve jacket or shirt and gloves and over the ankle footwear and some of the basic stuff like that just to protect your body. But we have everything else for you that you might need. And those are available for a little bit less than $200 for the weekend. And if you succeed at the end, you'll have a completion card you can take to the DMV.
And get the endorsement on your bike again for your bike, which I did. I will just give a caveat to this and tell people, sign up early. I think I talked to you guys about 3 months ago, 3 months before I wanted to take the class, and could not find any classes that I wanted to take. They fill up very quickly.
They do. It's a popular class. We train on the order of 13,000, 14,000 students a year statewide. And so we're pretty much running at capacity, but we try to maintain some availability. But as we get into May, June, July, August, we're pretty much stacked up. So yeah, check out our website, team-oregon.org, or give us a call at 1-800-545-9944, and we'll get you in as soon as we can.
All right, let's talk about those people who have experience in motorcycles, like me, a little bit. I got my endorsement in the summer last year, I think, or in the spring last year. So I've been out there for a year. I've been over to Beaverton Motorcycle, and Bob's been hanging carrots in front of me, talking about new bikes I should ride. But if I want to take a little bit more of an advanced class, what have you got for the rider who's maybe a year or 2 years out from getting their endorsement?
Oh, well, the classes we have for the rider that's been out there for a little while, and this is the one we recommend for someone that's been out there after a year, is what are called our Rider Skills Practice, RSP. And for that one, you can use our bikes, but you can use your own of any displacement, as long as it's legal and insured. And it's a half day on one of our training ranges. And the exercises are a little different than we do in the basic or the intermediate. We push speeds up a little bit more. We focus on a couple other different things. But we also cover the basics too in terms of braking and cornering and swerving. But it's a great way to come and refresh those skills, or maybe find a habit that you had practiced that wasn't actually quite to your benefit.
You're talking about me and the slalom again, aren't you?
Not at all. But the issue is more not necessarily the slalom, but the basic things like how do you get the bike stop quickly,
right?
And the brake balance between front and rear, or how do you get the bike to swerve quickly, and these things that need to be instinctive. It's not just enough to know what to do. Your body needs to do the right thing in the half second that you have the time to think about it. And there's a lot of bad habits out there. And as an example, I worked with a rider yesterday who had been riding for decades and did not understand how countersteering worked.
Right.
And so with a couple quick exercises, that light bulb came on for him, and the whole world opened up for him. It's like, oh, that's really how it works. And so we can point out these little things that can really improve your riding experience.
Excellent, Jeff. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about those. Just tell us a little bit again about how we get in touch with Team Oregon to take the classes.
We have two methods where you can reach us. The easiest way, if you have internet, is through the web at team-oregon.org. We do all of our registration online. You can find a course there. Or you can call us directly, toll-free at 1-800-545-9944.
Excellent. Be safe. When we come back, we're going to talk more motorcycles for the second half of the show. Bob Lanfield Jr. going to be in studio talking about Beaverton Motorcycles. He also tells me he has some amazing deals on some bikes. If you're looking to get upgrade, or just get your very first bike, once you've taken your endorsement class, that's the place to go. We're going to tell you about some of the bikes and also how to get your bike itself ready for spring. That's coming up on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Under great pressure, I have put the Minion glasses on that are in the studio here because we're live on Facebook. You can go to my account, which is Nick J. Miles, Nikjmiles. And we are up to 18 viewers here on Facebook. You now can see me in minion glasses.
No,
All right, I can't do this.
No, that's
I can't.
187 viewers.
What?
Yeah, you got the wrong glasses.
Oh, okay. 187 viewers. That's why I don't wear them, guys. Look, there you go. Keeping you connected to the automotive world, you're listening to Test Miles, America's Automotive Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Automotive Nation. For more fun facts about cars, find us on Twitter at Test Miles.
Thank you, Nick. In 2015 statistics, there were 9.2 million motorcycle owners. 14% of them are women. The average age for a female rider is 39 and men are 48.
Oh, good. I'm somewhere around the average age of a motorcycle rider. All right, Brad, what have you been driving this week?
So I had the new Honda Fit, which I liken to the guy you want your daughter to marry, all in deference here. But
you're going to have to explain that now because I'm confused.
Bob's daughter just got married last night. So it's practical. It's affordable. It's comfortable. It's really the vehicle if you don't demand sexy, exciting.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
It's okay. But it really does what it's supposed to do. It leads that subcompact group head and shoulders, I think, above all sorts of things like the Sonic, the Fiesta, the Mazda 2. Maybe the Rio. I like driving that vehicle.
There's two things about this car that I think are outstanding. One is you can tow it behind a motorhome, all right, in the manual version. Number two is it has magic seats. Anything with magic in it, I really like. But magic seats that you can fold those seats in any which way but loose, and you can get almost anything in. It's perfect for the dogs. I put my chocolate lab Sam in the back. He's 11 months old. You can fold those seats up. And he doesn't have to jump on them. It's great.
I thought you meant magic seats because my big frame actually fit into the driver's seat pretty
right.
comfortably.
Could be that too.
Because I was actually quite surprised how big that car is. It leads the category in interior space. And the 1.5-liter four-cylinder engine is okay. And again, it's practical. It gets up to 38 miles to the gallon with the CVT. And its price point starts at $15,525, can go up to about $20,000, but it really leads that subcompact group for me. It's a great value car.
And fuel, what was the fuel economy on it?
The manual, actually, again, as we've talked about, gets worse mileage, 29 in the city, 37 highway, 32 overall. With the CVT, it gets up to 38 on the highway and 35 overall.
And I think Honda actually hit it out of the park, and I'm hoping this year they'll have a electric version of that. Because they got rid of the electric version from last one. So we're holding our breath from that. All right, Beaverton Motorcycle is probably something you cannot have missed if you drive down 217. It takes up a large portion of 217. You can see all the motorcycles on display. And the man in charge of that is Bob Lanphier Jr., nominated in 2012 for Time Magazine's Dealer of the Year. Even today, he has lots and lots of attributes. He does racing. He has the best motorcycle collection I have ever seen outside of a museum in my life. He took me for a tour around the store and pointed out his dad's first bike, his first bike, some BSAs, even some Triumphs that I had never seen before. He has Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, and Kawasaki, and I'm very honored to have Bob Lanphier Jr. in the studio with us today. Boy, motorcycle season is on us, Bob, so we need to get these bikes ready to get back on the road. How do we need to prep them?
Well, it's interesting. If you've had a bike and you've stored it all winter long, it's important that you stored the bike in the beginning, at the end of the season, with ethanol-free fuel in it. If you're going to store a bike at any time, the ethanol actually tears apart the carburetors inside, and it's really, they say it's not bad for the carburetors, but it really is. We see it time and time again. The ethanol-free fuel is the best fuel to put in your chainsaws, your mowers. Anything that's going to sit for more than 30 days at a time through the winter should have ethanol-free fuel in it.
So the ethanol eats away the aluminum in the carburetor.
Actually, it breaks down really fast and separates, and then the ethanol itself actually corrodes the jets and the aluminum and starts etching away at it.
And so your bike doesn't perform that well.
Doesn't perform, and you should always put your bike on a battery tender every time you store it. The battery tenders are a cheap investment. The batteries are upwards of $100 a piece. And we've had batteries last up to 5 and 6 years, year after year, on the same battery with a battery tender. And they're They're really, really a nice rig.
I actually had my bike serviced just before the winter, so when I went out to start it this time, and I didn't know about the battery tender, it did actually turn over the first time. Didn't start. I had to do a little bit of a run and push to get it to start, but just probably to get that because there was probably too much ethanol in it. So where do we buy the ethanol-free fuel?
There's quite a few stations around town. You can Google it, but there's a Texaco station on McLaughlin Boulevard that sells it, and there's a little tiny store, Laurelview store, out in Hillsboro that sells it right down the street from my house.
All right, so if let's just say you need to get your bike tuned up, is there something you do yourself, or do we bring it into Beaverton Motorcycles to have them look at it?
The main thing is the surface charge on the battery. If your plates on your battery get sulfated, it'll continually drain the battery, and they actually don't have the connectivity. So that's why the battery tender is so starting. So when they start going dead, they start sulfating right away. And then once the sulfating process starts, you can't reverse it. So you should always have your bike on a battery tender when you're not using it, because it really saves the battery, and it saves you having to go out and buy a new battery every spring when you go out and your bike goes.
And that happened to me at the end of last year. But
to go ride.
say that again, Brad.
Day, and then you get out there and you got to deal with the battery and all that hassle.
It's by the time you got your gloves and your helmet on, you sit on the bike, you go wah, 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 so you're ready to do that. All right, so let's talk about Beaverton Motorcycle. How long have you guys had Beaverton Motorcycle? Because some of the bikes you have in there are even older than Brad, I dare to say.
Well, we celebrated a few years ago our 50th year. We started in 1964, and I was just a little tight because I was born in 57. And we started out a little tiny motorcycle dealership on Hull Boulevard in Beaverton, downtown Beaverton. And we grew to the Honda cars in 70, and we never looked back. It's been a wonderful ride. We love motorcycling. Matter of fact, our passion is motorcycle riding, and the cars just help us do that.
One of the things, and we'll talk a little bit more about buying bikes too, but one of the things that I really loved about your store, apart from the fact that from your receptionist through everybody I met in the store and was absolutely friendly and welcoming, is the fact that you guys got it. Like when I said something about a bike, this is what I feel comfortable on, this is what I don't feel comfortable on. I can't remember the name of the guy that walked around with us when you and I walked around the store, but he immediately picked out 2 or 3, because I had a bike in mind. Oh, I really like this. And he said, no, the center of gravity is way too high for you. You need to sit on this. And he was right the first time, because the minute I sat on the bike, my feet touched the ground. I could feel I could actually control the bike. So the knowledge of your staff, I mean, you've probably built these guys up over years, right?
That was Jerry Lenz, my brother-in-law, who's married my sister Sharon. He's been running the motorcycle store for years. And Dave Newell, the manager there. And they really know their product knowledge. And, when someone is inseam challenged, as you and he are, because you both have short legs,
right. And
you
Kyle.
know right away if the top end's too heavy, if the seat height's too low or it's too high, you get that tipping point and you start to tip over, and it's never comfortable, especially if you're a new rider. You're a year and a half riding?
I'm not even a full year.
Yeah. You talked about helmets and gloves a little earlier, too, which is kind of neat. You want your helmet to fit tight when it's new.
Right.
And you want your gloves to fit loose so your hands don't go to sleep on the bar. And the biggest problem people have is they don't relax.
Right.
They handle the grips on their bike too hot, too heavy, and they get arm pump. It causes their hands to go to sleep. And with tight gloves, it
makes it worse.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm glad I do have loose gloves. One of the things that Jeff Earls taught me when we were riding the bike is, you can ride the clutch, but you can't ride the brake. And so every time I would be riding the brake, he'd be doing this, hands off the brake, hands off the brake. Because, once you start to get that grip going, with a clutch, you're basically doing it the whole time. But if you do it with the brake, your hands kind of go to sleep and they kind of seize up.
An easy way to do it is just to put a couple fingers on the lever itself so you can't grab so tight, because once you get arm pump in your arms, it doesn't go away for a few hours. And it's very, very uncomfortable.
So the motorcycle guys with giant forearms riding these motorcycles too. You really ride a lot, don't you? I mean, I'm thinking you've got Honda store, you've got a Kia store, you've got an Infiniti store, but the fact is that it seems like your heart is definitely, a lot of your heart is in the motorcycle store.
Our family passion is motorcycling, and it's very, very fun for our family. I've got grandkids that all ride. We take them to Sand Lake and ride on the dunes. It's a lot of fun. I have a dual sport bike. I don't get out as often as I want, and I ride on the street. I like street riding, but I'm very cautious when I'm riding on the street, and I always tell people, look at the people turning left's eyes to make sure you have got contact, that they see you and you see them. If not, you got to start slowing down.
All right, we're going to talk. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the best deal that you have today at Beaverton Motorcycle. We're also going to talk about some of the bikes that you recommend that people take a look at this season, and we'll talk about the bike that you're dangling in front of my face, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm having a really hard time with, with trying to justify me going out and buying a new bike before I've had my first year. Our guest is Bob Lanphier Jr. from Beaverton Motorcycles. We will be back talking more about spring riding on two wheels. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Staying connected with the automotive world, you're listening to America's Car Radio Show. Test Miles. Find us on radio, on TV, on mobile, and on testmiles.com. Don't forget to watch my reports on Coin 6 in Portland on Friday and Saturdays.
Last fun fact of the day, American Honda Motor Company opened in LA in June 1959 with a capital investment of $250,000 and 3 employees. They sold 2,000 motorcycles in 1960 and now sell over 215,000 units a year.
That's pretty good. All things small start small. I have been driving the Volvo V60 Cross Country, a comfortable seated car. It is a wagon. Wagons just either make it or break it. There's only one really big wagon in the United States. That's the Subaru Outback. It has 7-inch color display screen, Bluetooth, audio streaming, and anti-theft device, 2-liter vehicle or 3-liter. It has 250 horsepower, a 6-speed automatic, 8-speed automatic, all-wheel drive. 37 is the best fuel economy you'll get. What does it go up against? The Audi Allroad, BMW 3 Series wagon, Volvo CX-70, and the Subaru Outback, BMW 3 Series Gran Turismo as well. Trim levels. 11. I'm not going to tell you what they are. There's just way too many to go through. But the Polestar is kind of good, and the Cross Country is kind of fun, which I drove as well. $36,000 starting price. The base model, you can go up to $61,000. And I will tell you, I'm a wagon lover, and this car would definitely make it into my driveway if I was looking for a wagon. Bob Lanphier Jr. in with us today. We're talking about motorcycles. All right, a big showroom. Downstairs, you've got a lot of new bikes. Upstairs, you've got some used bikes. I have to tell you a funny story. So I'm in your place, and I started my career in Portland as a paramedic for 911 on the trauma team at OHSU, and I used to take patients from floor to floor. Sometimes when I was on the trauma team, they were going to the OR or whatever. And I get in this elevator in your dealership, and I'm thinking, it's like the biggest elevator I've ever been in. What's going on? It's got a chair in here. It's just like you can get 25 people in here. I'm like, I sit there and I get in the car afterwards with Ryan, and I'm like, why was that elevator so big? And Ryan goes, I have no idea. And I was like, oh, wait, they've got to put bikes in it and bring them up and downstairs. You have 2 levels. And you tell me a story about one day you did something that you wouldn't recommend any of your staff doing. You rode a bike down the stairs. And I'm thinking, well, clearly they take the bikes up and down the stairs. It sounds like a lot of fun. So that was kind of funny. It didn't dawn on me until about an hour afterwards that you actually have 2 floors and you need to get bikes up and down. So upstairs you got secondhand or gently used, as we like to call them, and downstairs you got a lot of new bikes. So what's hot?
Well, there's a lot of things going on depending on what segment of motorcycling you're in between. We actually have the boats, which are the personal watercraft. We have the 4-wheelers. We have the quads, side-by-sides. New Yamaha side-by-side 1000 is unbelievable. But, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, the little Metro is $3 a day, $75 a month payments depending on credit, how term you go. So you can get into a small bike just to buzz around, and don't recommend those for highway use. But, if you're looking for probably the best bike we have in the store in the mid-series is the CTX 700N. $49.99, less than $5,000, no freight, no setup.
Is this the black one you showed me a picture of, right?
Well, there's a couple different colors, and there's brand new 2014s we bought from the factory, and they are unbelievable. $5,000 brand new motorcycle, full warranty.
Oh, you're torturing me here.
Now, for the big bike, we've got a Valkyrie. It's unbelievable motorcycle. It's the Goldwing based motor. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. It's fuel injected, what have you. It's a GL 1800 CE. and it is $11,999. That is $6,000 off the MSRP. Unbelievable buy. It's 2014. They're brand new. Got some colors to pick from. You can come down, see our apparel department, buy the right gear, make sure it fits tight on your helmet and loose on your gloves, and you'll have a great time.
I'm borrowing Sean's helmet right now because he got a motorcycle endorsement, but doesn't have a bike right now. So you should probably be talking to Sean as well. But that means I'll have to go. I have to go buy my own helmet at some point. So I'm definitely going to do that with you. You show me that Honda Shadow with the Phantom all blacked out. Oh, brother, that thing. You shouldn't go Google a picture of that. That I'm having a really hard time with that bike.
Actually, I saw a couple cavities in your back teeth because you were smiling so much when you got on that bike. So he had an ear-to-ear grin like a Cheshire cat, a kid in the candy store. He was having a great time at the motorcycle store, and I can tell you his passion for motorcycle riding is going to get better and better as he gets bigger and bigger on the motorcycles.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, the best deal in the store, we got about 30 seconds.
The CTX 700N for $5,000, no freight, no setup. That's a killer buy, 2014.
I'm going to be test driving some this week. I can promise you I'm going to be down there. Bob Lanfair Jr., you've been an awesome guest. Thank you so much for coming in. Visit Beaverton Motorcycle. You can come down there. They got really knowledgeable staff. They have a passion for motorcycles. And if you want a family outing, go look at some of the great bikes on that shelf around the outside. You can see Bob Sr.'s first bike and Bob Jr.'s first bike, and you can see some bikes you'll never see anywhere else. We're here 24/7 at testmiles.com. We'll see you on the radio, on the TV, and very soon right here on KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101.